so there's code and well, there are pieces of code and notes on screen. Pause if you want to look at and or read it. I've zoomed out so that you can actually see all of it. But I'm going to go through this piece by piece for the next minute. So we're just going over the perk that you will see in this video, and I'm currently working on it. I forgot to change the character stats, but that'll happen next video anyway, because that's something really quickly to make, as opposed to, you know, starting to make a perk basically. This is on PERM, by the way, so here's your daily disclaimer that on PERM, if you don't know what PERM is, don't worry about it. Just know PERM is something you can use with World of Horror to do cool stuff, do more custom content stuff. But this part is actually added directly from basically a help file that comes with PERM, so you know how to code with it in Ito files. And I basically just copy pasted this part into the relevant code, and by that, and when I highlight this, I'm going to show you here as well when I spread this out, and I spread it out the wrong way, but yeah, I essentially just copy pasted it around here. Now I did split it up because I wanted to set the RNG first, but I tested it out. It should work as intended. I don't think I've made any weird mistakes, and if I have, please let me know. Otherwise, this is the part that I'm working on next. There's a semicolon here because it's commented out in the perk Ito file at the moment, but basically lose reason, proc a status change, remove this, add new status. There are other effects that I could just use in place of this, but because PERM allows me to basically customize the effect to do more or less, or be very specific in what it does, then that's what I'm adding to the character. Now at the same time, I'm trying to make it so that the character can be used with and without PERM as well, as we get in a Thotu cult run, but yeah, we'll just see. I'm starts with small steps, and I'll mention that after the timestamp as well. You're gonna hear me mouse click because I have my mic in a certain way, and I'll explain that later on as well. But without further ado, as we finally get a cult run on a Thotu, but for timestamp's sake, as we get into a Thotu cult custom character, and I did not change her stats. Her stats are actually supposed to be different, but I'll change that next time because first and foremost, we're going to go over this perk. I left everything literally as is, with the minimal adjustments. The main adjustments you have to make is that you have to prepare image files. They can just be like a green screen with a dot, as I made before, and you can just use it twice for perks. Little nuance here in case you were just, you know, if you didn't see the ally video. Ally graphics are different image dimensions than normal status dimensions, and if I'm wrong about that, correct me. Takshisan dexterity knowledge, charisma, strength, every single stat check, and then maybe a second mystery check. But the most important part is just going through this, and there are other effects that proc basically, or just are guaranteed to proc reason recovery. I think it's doomed already. Procs reason recovery on reason lost through events. But what I'm trying to make is basically not a stance, but basically a perk that changes based on, well, a proc chance on reason loss. And so something else would happen. You'll get another status effect that does something else. But for now, I just want to see how a proc chance of, it's 15% by the way, 15% will work out. So as we get Painting, Kana, Botanist, Shibas, and Taxi, we'll take Kana first because damage mitigation. But yeah, without further ado, again, just slowly working through the steps. I actually was, so just to get into the kind of tangent part, which also, while also talking about, well, me working on things, is that I did actually have more, but I'm kind of just, you know, batting this video out because I made a mistake. So it wasn't great. I did try to basically do more. So as I mentioned in the last episode, I tried to be confident, do more, and then I ran into a problem that I need to fix myself. So yeah, that's why you're getting a video with a lot less instead. On top of that, I made some graphics, but I wasn't happy with showing them off. And again, the moment you see the graphics, some people who watch this channel will immediately recognize the character. So if that's the case, then again, I'm just going to glance over who they are without mentioning their name because robots. And I know that sounds really that sounds like someone with paranoia, which, I mean, to some extent you can call me that at least. But oh my goodness, all I can do is laugh away the weird, the awkwardness. But basically, robots have hurt me before on this channel. They've hurt me in several ways. I don't want to mention it specifically because, again, it's different for anyone, and I don't want to raise unnecessary fright, I guess, where it doesn't exist. Just know that I have to be very careful saying certain things and including certain things in comments, descriptions, video titles, so on and so forth. As some people who are on this platform already know. If you don't know, basically weird things can happen on this platform. So, yeah, we'll just continue onward. That being said, I know I have not played certain custom characters yet that have recently come out here and there. Some of them I just can't. The others I just haven't gotten to, and I actually was supposed to add a custom, I think it was a custom enemy and or an event, but I've just been busy doing other stuff. So there's more of the tangent is that I actually had to, I was looking for permission to do certain things here and there for the past, I want to say like 1-2 months. This is not calling out anyone in particular. I have literally been through basically few correspondences here and there. I can mention that much because I'm not going to mention any names. I feel pretty confident about that, and I'm not under any NDAs that I'm aware of. So yeah, I had to work things out, and that's why I was pressed for time, and I'm more pressed for time, on top of the fact I'm doing game dev myself. But that's something else to talk about. We can take Shiba's now. We'll save taxes for third. Because we don't have to fight the boss of Shiba's. I don't want to fight the boss of Shiba's because this character is actually. Do I want to let her just have? I mean, she already has adrenaline and core strength. Yeah, I guess I can just make her status effect more non-combat related, but I'll think about it later. But yeah, basically in real life and also on this channel and otherwise, going through some. Basically scheduling. I'm basically scheduling a lot of things, which, to note, if you see any trying to play videos in the next 24 hours, not any game I've played, it's actually a game that's come out recently, then I'll let you know. But, funny thing about that, so I mentioned a long time ago of how I would refund a game that would only be like a couple of dollars, and obviously this was this and these games were on sale, but I had to do that recently as well because certain games just don't work. So, and you don't want that. I'm not going to mention if they're, on Steam, itch.io, Game Jolt, any other gaming storefront, but there have games that have been released, whether both within the past few months and in the past few years that don't work as intended. So, yeah, you gotta. Steam, it's a bit easier because you can actually ask for refunds here and there, but in other places, let's just say it can be what is the word I want to use? It can be a lot. That's all I can say for now because I'm also trying to focus on not dying here. We're gonna take a pack of cigarettes and use them, but yeah, off we go. So. As we do our best here, I think we could protect Pepper Strong. Oh my goodness, butterfly knife. But why did I pronounce that weird? Anyway. But yeah, back to World of Horror. So another thing that I actually should have talked about, I've clapped my hand in real life, even though I should keep my hands on the mouse. But I was actually, so in the last episode, I kind of showed you the example templates that I use. I do have actually more sophisticated templates, but I kind of lost them. And in fact, I spent, I think, about 10 minutes looking for certain templates on the World of War Discord server. I normally know how to search for it, but this time when I was searching for it in the server, for whatever reason, I couldn't find it. And specifically, I was looking for a character image template for custom characters that basically had the measurements for like the UI, so that you're not if you don't want to cover the stats, if you don't want to just poke out, if you are trying to measure the character for the mirror as opposed to the UI, basically there was a template for that, and for some reason I couldn't find it. I found it every other time. This is the one time, or today was the one time in my life so far, at least, that I couldn't find it for whatever reason. But I'm sure if someone's listening to this and they know where it is, you can probably point me to it. But without further ado, like, not really much else to say about that. It's something that I would have liked to show. And if I do find it, I'll show you as well, because I think it is a good template. It's just that I have my own that I use for my own purposes. Because sometimes I like to angle the character in certain ways, because World of Horror characters, base characters in particular, as I smoke a pack of cigarettes, we're at 50% Doom right now. They're facing over to the left on this screen. Sometimes some of them are facing directly forward, like I think Kyrie, and all of them are usually looking at this viewer. Not, I think Yashiro is not looking at basically the screen or you, but you get the point. If I want a character to look a different way, oh, I should have had the map by the way. yeah, if I want the character to be facing a certain direction, I will usually use my own template to do it. Now, you might be wondering, Jordan, why didn't you show this template in the last episode? It's because, as I mentioned earlier, I was having problems finding my own templates. So, yeah. That being said, I think I've been kind of spoiled by PERM templates. They are very nice templates to use for coding ETL files specifically, and then any examples given with the thingamajiggy. I think I'm just going to go all out here. Yeah, let's go all out here. Normally, I would save a strong attack with a butterfly knife due to this effect. This is a PERM item, by the way, for Desperate Struggle, but I'm just going to just go all out here. So, but yeah, basically templates. If I find any templates, I'll try to point you in the right direction. Otherwise, we're going to gamble here and just move on with life. Would have been nice to get core strength and or, I was going to say discipline, but I just because I'm raising adrenaline or core strength, but that's not going to happen, so anatomy class instead. So, off we go. We do get Hail a Taxi. I think this is one of the few times I'm actually able to use it, because funny enough, all the times that I take Taxi and the Taxi ending where I get this effect, which again, this is PERM specific. If you're not using PERM, you're not going to find this. But if you are using PERM, have fun. But yeah, it's... I don't often get to use it, and the reason for that is because I'm usually, for some reason, on 7th Curse when I get this effect. So, yeah. But without further ado, I think if you don't have funds, this ally goes away, right? I haven't checked this Ito file, and I think this is the first proper time I'm using this character. But anywho, off we go. We're taking a taxi right around this mansion, but hey, immersion and gameplay. So, haha, I have no more funds, fool. And off we go. I think Doom was decreasing, but yeah, so when you're out of funds, Altori leaves. Period. That's all I have to say. That being said, okay, we can go over something different while I'm autopiloting here. So, there is the phrase I was looking for at some point in the past, because I don't remember when exactly. My short-term memory is really bad. But it's tokenized text, so using that in the middle of variables. You'll see me often use this for showing rolls. Those are usually debug text that I like to add just to know how much I'm rolling. But the next time I lose reason, I'll point it out just to make it more apparent what I'm talking about. But so you can add basically variables in the middle of, in this case, text, but other things as well, so that you can it's easier to basically work with what you want to work with. That's being very vague, but I promise you it's for the better. You don't normally want to. So I can actually think of an example here. So an example of this is, say you are flipping a coin, right? Or no, we'll say you are rolling a 4-sided die. So if you're rolling a 4-sided die and then you have an effect that happens that, say, when you roll a die, recover the amount of, in this case, roll for stamina that the dice shows you. You could make 4 different ifs, or you could make an if-else statements that has 4 different clauses that say, if you roll a 1, heal 1. If you roll a 2, heal 2. If you roll a 3 or 4, so on and so forth. You normally don't need to do that with tokenized text, because what you can do instead is say, hey, you rolled a die, so variable dice 424 equals a dice roll or a random number between 1 and 4. And instead what you could do is assign this variable 424 to the amount of stamina that you want to heal. So in the specifically for roll of 4, it is... did I do a thing, by the way? Hold on. Yeah, you can assign this variable to the result and then just call it, say, stamina colon 424, and then you will heal the amount that that variable stores. And that's what I mean by tokenized text, which is very, 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 very nice and very, very, very convenient, and is usually going to be something you want to do when programming or coding things. And in this specific instance, Ito code. I promise you it saves a lot of time. Now, you could still use if-else statements if you are doing more, if you so choose to do so, but I think there is still a more sophisticated, or by sophisticated I mean a more efficient way to do it, where you're not experiencing as much pain. And when I say this, it's usually because so for those who don't know a lot of coding or programming, you normally want to code in a way that makes it easier for you to maintain, observe, and do a lot of other stuff later on. especially if you have to go back. Usually it's when you make a mistake and you have to go back and fix something. That way you're not going to. So in the case of these if-else statements, I'll even expand it. And I think we've, depending on how, well, no, I'm just going to say what I'm going to say. So in the example of the if-else statements, say instead of 4 if-else statements, you have 4 different files on, working on a project, and in each of these files you used something that you now have to change in each of those 4 files. Instead of that, if you use, say, not just only tokenized text, but say if you code more efficiently, you only need to change 1 file, and all 4 files will be maintained, basically. That is the reason why, that's the reason why you want to be more efficient with coding overall. And if I say something wrong, someone with more coding experience can correct me at any moment. But essentially, that is why you want to be efficient, because if you're not efficient, also I have a very, very inefficient butterfly knife due to the nicotine withdrawal buff. But even just saving time and not having to look into 4 files, even if you're just switching, changing 1 number in each file, that is more time you're losing, especially when you're working on a bigger project. So I'm kind of doing like a verbal motion in real life. Also, we probably just want to run here because I cannot fight well under the effect of nicotine withdrawal. That being said, we are in a lot of pain Doom-wise, so unless I do something, pain. Also, did I ever proc the thing? Let me see if I procced the thingamajiggy. I did not, for whatever reason. Did I really not proc it in this run? I don't even remember now. But as we just take our free out here, our Doom is going to shoot through the roof, but as long as we don't have... Well, we do have the 6th floor. But we don't have the second encounter check, so I don't need to worry about forgetting as much. But, yeah, and just to rewind it all the way back to World of 4, that's why you want to work with tokenized text. In fact, if I showed... because I know part of the code, and obviously I translated the character for myself, if nothing else, because I have not released a translation yet. The Cooking Club member that I showcased, I think, like 10, 20 episodes ago, uses tokenized text to basically make life easier. So, and it's mainly, I think it's mainly for effects, but I think it also, it also calls text as well. So it's very, very important to do that. That way you are making less changes overall. And, it was, I think the creator switched to tokenized text, and I was just like, well, it's good that you did that, but then now I have to translate. Again, it's not like I'm not trying to force anyone to do anything. It's just that it's really funny because I'm like, oh, he or she changed the code to be more efficient. That's nice. And now I'm like, oh, I just realized I have to do the things on my side as well when I'm translating the text. Not that you have to do much. Basically, as long as I translated the text correctly, I didn't need to worry about anything. Shrug. So, we have enough stamina and we have enough reason to survive. Do we have enough everything else to survive? Seems like it. This should be a handcuff immediately. If I took Doom there, that would have been bad, but we're fine for the moment. But, yeah, without further ado, not really much else to say here. If I didn't proc any reason loss and I didn't proc that effect, I'm going to be a little surprised, but we might as well drink the water now, no point. We lose reason there, and if nothing else, it's interesting to see. I could have just forced 100% proc, but I didn't want to do that, because then I'd just be healing reason, and that's not really accurate. But if I wanted to test out what kind of reason loss normally, I would assume it's most sources of reason loss. If I didn't show it at the beginning, it should say, hold on, let me check really quickly. Yeah, reason loss prizes. I would assume it's every instance. I think I did Shiba second, right? Yeah, I did. But you never know, right? Because I didn't test it. I should just test it out myself. Again, I'm not forcing anyone to tell me something here and there. I'm just making observations based on what I understand. And it's, if nothing else, it's kind of good to go through the, I'm like twirling my fingers around my brain trying to think. But going over things in real life to at least get my brain juices going. That's at least one part of it. But yeah, not going to take up much more of your time. If you have anything to say, anything to ask, so on and so forth, you know what to do. Thank you for watching. Bye!